Hey everyone, let me just point out for those who maybe are new to my channel or new to watching my videos, yeah, I'm not racist or prejudiced towards anybody. I am the kind of person, I'm all about ideas, and I have that live, let live mentality. I've had it my entire life, and I'm just the kind of person I'm reactive in nature. If you treat me good, we're A1, we're A-okay. Everything's going to be fine. If you cross me, yeah. If you do something against me, if you preemptively try to use force, violence, or try to control me in some way, yeah, I'm going to retaliate. That's just me. I stand in firm defense of myself, and why that is because when I was a young man, before I had my heart surgery when I was very young, I was quite small in stature, in size, and weight, and I was bullied a little bit. But my dad and the people that surrounded me taught me to stand strong and stand up against the bullies. And you know what? I did that. And I took some knocks, I took some beatings, but at the end of the day, even the bullies recognized that if you're going to come up against me, you better be willing to go the full way. Better be willing to go all in, because Bennett's going to keep. I was like that back when I was growing up. There was these punching things that they were made of plastic and filled with sand at the bottom. You knock them down, they just keep popping back up. That's me in a nutshell, right? So most people have learned throughout the course of my life, don't mess with me, right? Because even if you get one up on me initially, in the long run game, like I say, that one day is not the end all be all. We got a long life we have to live. And that means you have to actually believe in your head that you're going to beat me, not just that day, but every other day going forward. And most people have found out, yeah, that don't work out so well. Anyways, but why I'm putting that out as the premise for even before I start delving into these articles and the topic I'll be discussing is because, like I say, I'm not prejudiced. I've grown up in the inner city and in very, very rural communities. So I've seen it. Like I saw the big city things. I've seen the gangs. I've seen inner city violence. I've seen collectivism. I've seen in-group preferences. I've seen how politics divides people. But because I had a lot of rural upbringing as well, I also seen a lot of people that were strong, resilient, independent, and self-reliant, and didn't need government for shit. So like I say, I've seen the best and the worst of both worlds. And the prejudice that comes from some of those ultra-conservative, social conservatives in the rural communities, or some of those ultra-liberals that pretend that they're not racist, but at the end of the day, they're more racist or every bit as racist as the rural counterparts. It's just they pretend that rather than their blatant, outright pretense of racism, they say the people that they show their racism toward, it's more like, oh, they need me to take care of them, right? It's not so much as far as vitriol or hatred put forth towards these minorities or these groups. It's the pretense that they are so much better than them, that these groups need these so-called leftists to take care of them or protect them, right? I don't think either side, blatant racism or this kind of authoritarianism, nanny state mentality, I don't think either of them is good for any minority group or community. So like I say, I've understood for a while now that you can't always believe the bullshit and the rhetoric you hear from people, whether they come from the left or the right politically. What I learned is you better learn to start thinking for yourself if you want to be truly informed. Anyways, this video, it's going to be all pertaining to the mass immigration plan, this constant influx of whether they're legal or illegal migrants, and you're seeing it's happening in Europe, and you're seeing it happening in North America, well, especially the US and Canada. And you're seeing that it's causing a lot of division among the people, and rightfully so, and for good reason. And I'm just going to be dealing with 4 articles that's just been out and presented within the last week that suggest, of course, Canadians should be concerned about this stuff. And no, they're not Islamophobes or racist for showing their concerns. So the first headline article will be at a National Post. I came from Canada. Toronto man allegedly fighting for ISIL captured in Syria. A researcher who studied Western foreign fighters said he was told Muhammad was born in Saudi Arabia in 1983 and came to Canada in 1988. So this is an ISIS fighter that's been captured in Syria that is a Canadian citizen. Is this one of those ones that Trudeau, and we've already seen the precedent been set, Trudeau is all about bringing these people and trying to reintegrate them into society. Think about what people that wanted to fight on the side of ISIL or ISIS, right? The Islamic State. Really, are these people that are a true representation of Canadian values, or or people that should be openly embraced by the Canadian people? I'll leave that up to you to decide. And then, of course, we have this new situation regarding this raha. This is a Star article. I think they did a great job. This is by Thomas Walcom, National Affairs columnist. Headline: Good news for Rahaf is bad news for our refugee system. Who would not wish Rahaf Mohammed well? The 18-year-old Saudi wants to escape the constraints of her family, her native country, and her religion. She seems in that regard a very normal teen who wants what most Canadians would regard as a very normal life. But the Liberal government's decision to grant her refugee status virtually sight unseen, in effect, letting her jump the queue, is unwise. It confirms what many critics of the refugee system have charged, that it is unfair, driven by politics, and open to manipulation. So yeah, I mean, think about it. Gets a free pass. Don't even have to wait in any line, just straight to the end of the line. And once again, political rhetoric, Christina Freeland out there, the big photo ops. I mean, this is playing politics with the Canadian purse strings and the Canadian culture and how things are done in this country. So I agree. Like I said, I'll be placing a link to all these articles in the description of the video below. But let's move on to the next one, because those are just 2 out of 4. Another one, headline out of CBC News, Nova Scotia. Saudi man facing sexual assault charges in Nova Scotia fled after embassy posted bail. This is a foreign government interfering with the criminal process, says immigration lawyer Lee Cohen. This being reported by Michael Tutton, the Canadian Press, January 15, 2019. A 29-year-old Saudi man charged with sexually assaulting a Cape Breton woman has gone missing, with a leading immigration lawyer saying it may be a case of the Middle Eastern kingdom helping a citizen flee while awaiting trial. So, I mean, once again, we're seeing that the ruling class in this country aren't protecting you. People are starting to realize and reflect on the fact that there's rules that are imposed on certain people, and then there are other people that just don't seem to have to follow any rules. And it seems more and more these days it's your typical white male that's receiving all the brunt of the vitriol and hatred from those in the established media. Meanwhile, the proponents of some of the worst acts and behaviors are getting off scot-free because they seem to come from a particular background or heritage that I guess we're not allowed to talk about it. It's unthinkable to even point the finger at anyone, even if they rightfully deserve it. And last, but definitely not least, is this headline article out of CBC News Politics with a headline, Person of National Security Concern was accidentally granted permanent residency. 2 departments make changes after completely unacceptable mistake. This has been reported by Catherine Tunney, CBC News, January 16, 2019. A person of national security concern was granted permanent residency due to a series of failures by the Canadian Border Agency and Immigration Department. Maybe they were all too busy carrying the luggage for the illegals and just couldn't think properly, right? Because they were just overwhelmed with their bellhop duties. In light of the incident, both departments have had to introduce changes in what the Public Safety Minister's office is calling a completely unacceptable mistake. The changes were outlined in a briefing note sent by Canada Border Service Agency President John Osowski to Public Safety Minister Ralph Goodale in early 2018 regarding the 2017 error. A heavily redacted copy of the document was recently obtained by CBC News through access to information laws. The briefing note titled Subject of National Security Concern granted permanent residency says the subject, their name, age, and gender are redacted for privacy reasons, was granted permanent resident status due to a series of failures on the part of both Immigration, Refugees, Citizenship Canada, and the CBSA. So lots of blame to go around. That means the person is entitled to most social benefits, including health care, can live, work, and study anywhere in Canada, and is protected by Canadian law and the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, but isn't considered a Canadian citizen. Anyways, I'm just going to move a little bit further down the article and cover another important point. In a statement to CBC News, the Border Agency said its internal review policies and procedures have been refined in light of the incident. But Sundberg, who spent 15 years working for the CBSA's predecessor, said that changes involve updating significant computer systems and working with international partners, raising some red flags. I don't think one mistake would trigger all of these major changes, he said. I don't believe this is the only case. I think that this is a problem more common than we believe. And it comes down to process. It comes down to organizational structure, and it comes down to investments in officers. So it's concerning. Ask about the incident. Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship Canada said it's offering its officers more training. The department is delivering ongoing training to IRCC officers to identify potential security concerns in order to mitigate human error, said spokesperson Nancy Karen. Sundberg said cases like this highlights the need for independent oversight of the CBSA. I don't buy it. I don't believe that this is a one-off, that this is the something went wrong. I think that this is yet another case that went public, that the government is like, oh, we better do something, he said. This is why we need to have arm's length oversight of the CBSA, so that when things go aside, when things go wrong, that there's an independent civilian body that's overseeing this for the interests of Canadians and to ensure best practices. Anyway, so as you see, and this is just in 1 week, folks. 1 week of reporting, and just how devastating the people, not just the ruling class, but their mindless order followers and the bureaucratic deep state, how terrible of a job they're doing of trying to protect Canadian citizens, or even doing the right thing for what it means to be a Canadian citizen. Absolute and abstract failure here, folks. Like I say, this has nothing to do with the people that are coming to this country or the people that are trying to take advantage of this corrupt, inept system. You know, bad people are always going to look to seek out vulnerabilities and exploit them. Once again, it comes to personal accountability and responsibility. The onus is on us to make sure we're putting the right people. If we need government, well, let's at least make sure, if you need authoritarian mommy and daddy, well, let's at least make sure you're putting authoritarian mummies and daddies in place that at least know what the hell they're doing and actually care about this country and the people that live within it. This is the Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.